If World War III started today, which countries would be the safest to live in? Would the place where you are right now be a safe refuge? Not every country is self-sufficient in food and medicine, for example. So a destroyed bridge or a non-functioning airport could turn that location into chaos during a war. For this reason, I will mention the 5 safest countries to live in if a global conflict were to happen. Starting with New Zealand, a country located at the far south of the planet, separated by thousands of kilometers from any major military power, outside the main strategic routes of global trade, and distant from the main centers of geopolitical decision-making. These characteristics drastically reduce the chances of direct involvement in a global conflict. In addition, New Zealand has a relatively small population, vast agricultural areas, strong food production, and a proven capacity to generate more than it consumes, something absolutely decisive in a world where supply chains collapse, ports are blocked, and imports simply cease to exist. Added to this, the country does not possess nuclear weapons, maintains a discreet foreign policy, does not lead aggressive military alliances, and does not represent a direct threat to any major power, which means that from a strategic point of view, attacking New Zealand would bring little or no real military gain. Another country often ignored but extremely relevant in a global war scenario is Iceland, located in an isolated position in the North Atlantic with no land borders, no standing army, and no high-value military targets. Characteristics that by themselves already drastically reduce the probability of direct attacks. In addition, Iceland has one of the most independent energy matrices in the world, based almost entirely on geothermal and hydroelectric energy, which means that even with the collapse of the international oil and gas trade, the country would be able to keep electricity, heating, water systems, and hospitals functioning, something that in times of war defines whether a society collapses or manages to continue operating. This scenario is reinforced by a small, highly educated population with a high level of institutional trust, factors that reduce internal conflicts in moments of extreme crisis. Before the next country, leave a like if you are enjoying the video. In the heart of Europe, Switzerland emerges as an apparently contradictory case, as it is surrounded by other countries, but at the same time is one of the most prepared nations in the world to survive a large-scale conflict. Thanks to a strict neutrality maintained for more than 2 centuries, including during the 2 world wars, combined with an extremely defensive geography where the Alps function as natural barriers that are difficult to cross, in addition to decades of investment in civilian preparation with enough bunkers to shelter virtually the entire population, advanced underground infrastructure, decentralized territorial defense systems, and even roads, tunnels, and bridges designed to be quickly rendered unusable in the event of an invasion, turning the country into a fortress that is difficult to occupy and offers little advantage to attack. Added to this, the Swiss economy is known for its resilience, with a robust financial system and the ability to adapt even during severe global crises. In the Southern Hemisphere, Australia appears as one of the most resilient countries in a global war scenario, not only because it is an isolated continent with no land borders and distant from the main conflict hotspots, but also because it has vast, sparsely populated territories, large mineral reserves, strong agricultural production, and the ability to sustain its population even under prolonged trade blockades. In addition, although it is allied with Western powers, Australia does not usually appear as a priority target in initial attack strategies, which would give it valuable time to reorganize its economy, strengthen civilian defenses, and adapt to a prolonged crisis scenario. Finally, perhaps the most underestimated country when it comes to global survival, Argentina. Located at the far south of South America, distant from the main nuclear powers, outside the major global military alliances, and far from the main strategic corridors of world trade. Factors that significantly reduce the probability of direct involvement in the initial stages of a global war. In addition, Argentina has one of the greatest self-sufficiency potentials on the planet, with an abundance of fresh water, fertile land, large-scale food production, relevant energy capacity, and vast areas with low population density. Resources that in a world marked by scarcity, forced displacement, and logistical collapse become more valuable than any modern military arsenal. Added to this, the country has low strategic value from a global military standpoint, does not host major foreign bases, and does not control critical choke points of international trade, which drastically reduces the incentive for direct attacks.
Ultimately, no nation is completely safe in a world war, but some have a much better chance of weathering the chaos while others quickly collapse. In a conflict of this magnitude, survival isn't about attacking first, it's about staying far from the eye of the storm. Now the question is for you. In which of these countries would you live if a global war started today? Would you leave your country or stay where you are, even with the increased risk? Leave your opinion in the comments.